Hi, welcome back to Evie's Evaluations. Today we're going to talk about something that a lot of people have been interested in, and I myself am interested in every time I go to the grocery store or the gas station or wherever, are protein bars, health food bars, the bars that are super convenient and easy and make it seem like a really great option when you're out and you're short on time. So we're going to start with really noticeable bar, which is the Kind bar. Now, this is a mini version, so we're not going to talk so much about nutritional facts in terms of the macros of this bar. I'm focusing on the ingredients, and initially when I look at this, there's a lot of ingredients for such a small bar, and especially for marketing that says they're kind, they don't have a lot of things added to them. Based on this, there is. One thing I want to make note of is just there isn't a lot of nutritional value to this bar. There's a lot of nuts that are not organic, so nuts are heavily sprayed with pesticides, so these are not organic. And there's chocolate and sugar and soy protein isolate, which a lot of people have digestive issues with. And then also looking at natural flavors, which that to me is a red flag. Why aren't you letting us know what that natural flavor is? So to me, this isn't something that is nutritionally valuable to me. It's not something that I would reach for right away. Next up is a really popular bar, the RX bar. Now, when these came out, I was personally very excited about this because I thought, wow, this is such a clean bar. And I was eating a lot of them. So there's very minimal ingredients based on the front labeling, the front packaging, but when you turn it over, there's additional ingredients, including natural flavors. Again, what is that? Why aren't they disclosing what those flavors are and what they're using? I'm not a huge fan of that. The dates, the peanuts, the egg whites, they've been in lawsuits because the egg whites are not true egg whites, they're egg white powder, and so it's false advertising. So there are some lawsuits with this company, with this bar. And then also there is a lot of sugar in this bar. There's 14 grams of sugar with only 5 grams of fiber. And so this isn't something that to me is worth it. That's a lot of sugar in one little bar when I would probably be consuming sugar at another point in the day through fruit and other types of whole foods. So this is something that is really high sugar that I'm not a huge fan of. So this is not a bar that would be my first choice. Our next bar is the Quest bar. These are really popular. These are more of like a meal replacement bar given the macros in these bars. So I used to have these a lot as well. And one thing that I do want to point out with these bars is that their ingredients are a little bit on the iffy side for me personally. Their first ingredient is a protein blend. It's milk protein and also a whey protein, and a lot of people have digestive issues with whey protein, and so I don't recommend it for those of you who are sensitive to that. There's also corn fiber in this, which I'm not a fan of. And then again, natural flavors is listed, which is like, what is that exactly? And then there is some stevia. Now, stevia can be a great alternative for sugar and adding sweetness to foods and drinks. However, stevia can have an effect on your blood glucose levels. So it is really important to be cautious of that and aware of that as you're consuming these bars, especially if it's something that you're consuming on a regular basis. Next up is the GoMacro bar. These, as you can see right off the bat, are USDA organic, and so that seems really good on the front of the label. But when we turn it over, we see there's a lot of ingredients. They are all organic, so that is really good. However, it starts off with brown rice syrup, which is a sweetener. So I don't necessarily like seeing that as the first ingredient in a bar, but we could look past it. And then goes into peanut butter and different protein blends. But the other thing I wanted to note is that there is natural flavor listed here, as well as sunflower oil. So you know that I'm not a huge fan of sunflower oil. So that is something that I'm not particularly fond of in this bar. There's also 14 grams of total sugar. So that is a lot of sugar again as well. And so that is something to be aware of when you're consuming these bars regularly. The next bar is Lara Bar. This is really popular as well. I used to have them a lot when I was teaching. The one thing I want to note about this is that there are not many ingredients in Lara bars, which is good for me. I like that there aren't a lot of ingredients. However, The thing I want to note about Lara bars are that there is a lot of sugar in these bars, with the first ingredient being dates. So that is what makes up a lot of that sugar content. There also isn't a lot of protein in this bar, so I wouldn't consider it a meal replacement because of the ratio of carbs to protein. The next bar I want to talk about is the Bulletproof Collagen Protein Bar. So this bar came out not that long ago, and it was something that a lot of people gained interest in because of the collagen protein. That was something that really like swept in and grabbed a lot of people's attention. And so there's collagen protein used in this. There's also stevia, which again, that is something that can influence our blood glucose levels. So that is something to also keep in mind as their sweetener. There is also their version of MCT oil, so that healthy fat. So they include that as well. What I want to note about collagen is that most collagen does not contain the amino acid tryptophan, so it is not a complete protein. So that is something to consider when you are using collagen supplements. It's not a complete protein, so that cannot replace like having meat or another source of protein for you, because it does not contain all of the amino acids that are in a typical serving of protein. The next bar is the Thunderbird. I love these bars. I love the taste. I love the texture. I love that they are 5 simple ingredients. Now, are there things that could be better? Absolutely. I would love for this to be organic because it does use almonds, but I understand that not every bar is going to be organic, not every nut is going to be organic. So that is something that I've been able to look past and have on occasion if I am in need of a bar and something quick. The first ingredient is dates. So again, that is why their sugar is 13 grams in this bar, because it is the first ingredient. So we know that that is the most used ingredient in this bar. And then also I want to make note that there is not a lot of protein in this bar either. And so it's not something that I would use as a meal replacement. The next bar is the hemp bar. This is fairly new to me. What I want to note about this bar is that there is a sugar alcohol, erythritol, used, and that can cause GI issues for people and just upset stomach. So just be aware of that this bar could do that. I do like that it does also have maple syrup in it, so it's sweetened with something natural, so I do appreciate that. There's a decent amount of protein, of 12 grams of protein in this bar. So again, it's something that could be used as a meal replacement, but I don't recommend it as a regular basis because of that. Another thing I want to note is this is also a protein blend and has hemp protein. So again, this is not going to have a protein that has a complete amino acid profile as if you were to have a animal sourcing of protein. The other thing I want to note is that with this bar, there is cane sugar because of the chocolate chips that are in here. So you are having that nice maple syrup sweetener, which is natural, but then you also have the cane sugar, which I'm not a huge fan of. I don't like to see that, but occasionally that's okay to have in your diet as long as you don't make it a regular thing. The last bar I want to highlight is the Perfect Bar. This was highly requested to go over because a lot of people use this bar as a meal replacement and because it's just so delicious. So I do like that this bar has a ton of extra things in it that you wouldn't ever assume would be in a bar. There's the sesame seeds, the pumpkin seeds. There are whole rose hip, orange, lemon. Those are things that you wouldn't typically find in a bar. So it's loaded with things like that. However, I will say that there's a lot of sugar in this bar. It's sweetened with honey. There's also milk. And so a lot of people who have issues with dairy could potentially have an issue with this bar. And then also there is sunflower oil, which I'm not a huge fan of. But again, with these bars, if you are not having them regularly, and this is like an occasional thing just to help you get by with like a busy day or busy weekend, that's something different. So with these ingredients, they're not the worst thing in the world, but I will say that I did need to mention that because those are some things that I wish were different about this particular bar. Yeah, it's great that it's organic, but there are those ingredients that I don't particularly like to have in my bars. If I had to rate these bars with a thumbs up or thumbs down, these are the ones that I would rate with a thumbs up. We're going to start with the Perfect Bar, the GoMacro, the Hemp Bar, the Bulletproof Bar, and the Thunderbird Bar. Now these bars are all different. The reason I rate them with a thumbs up is because either their ingredient quality, being USDA organic labeling, having less amount of ingredients, and having high nutritional quality. Those are the bars that I would recommend you have more of if you do have a choice in the types of bars that you're consuming regularly, just because of the nutritional quality, the ingredients, the labeling that's on there, and them being more of a complete meal compared to some of the other bars that we've talked about. Now, bars that I will give a thumbs down are the RX bar, the Kind bar, the Lara bar. I know that's probably hard for some people. And then also the Quest bar. The reasoning for that is because same reason I gave the other ones a thumbs up. The quality of ingredients, adding some of those things that I don't want to be in bars and to be consuming regularly, the sugar content, or just overall not really nutritionally sound or nutritionally beneficial to us. So because of the ingredients and maybe the proportions or amount of ingredients in those bars, I don't feel like those are deserving of a thumbs up for me compared to the other ones that we talked about. Now, a major thing that I want to go over is that obviously whole natural foods are a priority here, but I understand that life gets busy and we need things like this. These are really convenient, they're easy for us, they make food convenient when we need that, but we do need to make sure that we're making the best choice possible when we have to make these sort of choices. And so these bars, although they're not my first choice at all for food, these are some of the better ones that I wanted to highlight because I do get a lot of questions about, well, I'm short on time. What do you recommend when I need something in a pinch? And so those are some of the bars that I wanted to touch on that most people are familiar with. So again, not every bar is gonna be perfect. I don't think there is a perfect bar that exists. There's always gonna be something that we could dispute with a bar, and there's gonna be things that you might disagree with that, you know what, that's not a priority to me. But that is my opinion. Those are the bars that I wanted to rate because of their popularity, and I wanted to go over what you can look for in a bar. So as always, look for those ingredients. What are you really consuming? What are you allowing in your body? What are the nutritional facts? How much sugar is in that bar? Because there's sugar everywhere and we consume more than we probably realize throughout the day. So do you really want to be adding all that sugar just in a little tiny bar? And then also looking at, is this going to be a full meal for me, or is this something just to kind of hold me over until my next meal with nutritious whole foods? So those are things that you can ask yourself and start to explore next time you go to the store and you see some of these bars. If you have any questions or any other bars that you'd like me to look at, let me know. Please subscribe, like, and share this video. It's been so fun to do these, and it's very helpful when you share for other people to become educated as well. Thank you so much.